Sir, I mean, I think Raghava sir has already been introduced a couple of times, so no need of introduction. The biggest introduction is that he has published more than 300 web servers. I don't know what exactly the number is, but I think many papers, many web servers. He's one of the greatest proponents of open source, softwares in the field of bioinformatics, and he's Bhatnagar awardee, right, and fellow of all important societies of India. Okay, over to you, sir. I think we have
Okay.
about 20-25 minutes, and then we
Yeah.
can resume with the original
My
plan.
slides are visible. Devarkar,
Yes,
can
sir.
you my
Yes, sir.
slide?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So, okay, as you know, that main purpose of this conference is just to expose with the different type of tools developed by Indian community, basically. So, all my tools are available from this website. And today, what I'm going to talk about the cancer-associated servers or databases developed by our group. So, if you are interested in the cancer genomics or cancer treatment, then the software developed from our group, I will just briefly describe about that actually. So I'm not talking about the great science, but I'm talking about the servers. What type of servers is there? Because this is important. Uh, I came from the service side, so I always believe most of the time in the service actually, rather than going into deep science. Okay, so let's say just think about the cancer. We know the cancer is one of the major challenge in the world. A lot of people die due to the cancer. And question is how, as a bioinformaticians or computational biologists, we can contribute in this field. There are certain things we cannot do anything. So what are the important part actually? First thing is diagnostic. That first you have to diagnose that person is suffering from the cancer or not. If it is suffering from the cancer, then what stage of the cancer it is basically. Whether it's in the metastatic stage or it's in the local metastatic stage, what type of metastatic is it? Because the treatment of the person will depend upon the stage of the cancer basically. So it's important to do the prediction. So here we are mainly talking about the genomics based cancer diagnostics, though we can use the clinical based diagnostics, but our major focus will be on the genomics based classifications. Another part is when person is heavily suffering, the question is to predict the risk, whether the person is on the high risk or person is on the low risk. Means, let's say, if you know that person is on high risk already, then even some toxic drug you can give to the person because you have to extend the life of the person actually. Okay, but if you know that person can survive long without any drug actually, so we should not give the toxic drugs. So that's where the doctor play the role. That doctor decide that whether what type of drug should be given to the person. So prognostic biomarkers, where we predict the hazard ratio, is very important for the treatment of the patient. And the next part is treatment of the patient. All right. These are the 2 or 3 important points. I'm not saying that I am in this area from a long time. From few years back, I started this area, and it's a really enjoyable area. So now we have to understand about the different type of hallmarkers. What are the problems basically? Okay. So there are a number of hallmarks, cancer, what we call the cancer hallmarks, like registering cell death. Normally, each cell in your body should die on its own time, actually, means there is a programmed cell death. But in cancer case, they make it such a way that it is not dying on the time, actually. So that's one of the reasons. Proliferation is continuous, evading the growth of the suppressors. So there are a number of hallmarks which is important in the cancer. These hallmarks is important to understand the cancer. And second thing, we have to understand normal cell cannot go from one tissue to another tissue. There is a problem. But in cancer cells, they got the property, so they can even go to the other tissues basically. They can separate from the growth site and then they go to the other tissues basically. So these are the major properties of the cancer. Now, because we are talking about the cancer genomics, so we have to understand certain terminology. Like we know about the, let's say, any human cell, we have the nucleus. In nucleus, we have the chromosome, 23 pair of chromosomes, and they are around the histones basically, and this is called the epigenomics, where we study that their binding or methylations, okay, chromatin binding, and that is called epigenomics. And if we sequence the whole genome in a cell, then we call the genomics, and that we know that human genome have 3 × 10⁹ base pairs, basically nucleotides. So this is study is called genomics. Not all part of the genomics is translated to the genes. Only certain part they are translated to the genes, and when this RNA come from the corresponding to genes, and if we study all the transcripts, all the mRNAs in a cell, then we call transcriptomics. Then these RNA transcripts convert into the proteins, and if we study whole proteins in a cell, all proteins in a cell, their expression, then we call it proteomics. These proteins, some of them are glycosylated, that we call the post-translation modifications. This is also called glycomics. So these are the terminologies which will be used in this study, because these are the words commonly used in the field of genomics. So if you are a new user, you have to learn about these terms. Now, I have divided this talk in the 2 parts. One part is resources, because that's very important part. Most of the time, we want to do the job which is high caliber, but same time we forget to doing the high caliber job from where you will get the data. So it's important to do compilation of the data, because without data, bioinformatics is nothing. I'm simply saying that if you remove the data, then bioinformatics field will simply shut down. Why will it shut down? Because how you will learn all these machine learning, AI techniques, deep learning, where you will apply? Because all these techniques are knowledge-based techniques, knowledge-based learnings, where you have set of knowledge, you drive the rules from this data and apply for the new data. So it's very important in this area of informatics that you have the proper data. So our group believes in complete solutions rather than doing something or suggest for improving some part, basically, where the most of the scientists normally take some already existing resources and then they build over it. We normally do all the works, including development of databases, and most of the databases, they are primary databases, where the information is experimentally validated, collected from the literature or different databases. So here I will go one by one. So first, we create the databases, because one of the problem in the cancer is drug resistance. If you give the drug to a cancer patient, what happens? For some time, it is very effective. After some time, these cancer cells become resistant, and then again, problem is started to the patient. So that's called cancer drug resistance, and that's a very major problem in case of the cancer. So I will talk about the few databases developed from our group and their purpose and how you can use in your research. There is other databases which are related to the genes. Let's say methylation of the genes, or genes involved in the apoptotic pathway, or epigenetic biomarkers. So these are the different databases. I will cover one by one. Other part is basically drug delivery, or how you provide the treatment to the cancer. So that related databases are there actually. So I will describe about them, and then cancer biomarkers. In order to do the diagnostics or for doing any test, actually, you need some biomarkers. These biomarkers may be mRNA-based, transcript-based, it may be enhancer-based, it may be any type of genomic information. Right? So these are the major databases developed from our group. I cannot cover all the databases developed in our group related to cancer, because we have done a lot of work. And I have given you the link already. So, and my slides will be available. So you can just click and use them. So this is our first work. In 2012, our group decided that we will contribute in the field of cancer. So question is, when you decide that you want to start any field, how to start? But that's a major problem. Most of the researchers all over the world, whatever they learn during the PhD, normally they continue same thing in the PDF, or whatever they have done in the PDF, they continue to the research as an independent PI. That's a major problem, because we don't have the guts to start a new field. Because when you are starting a new field in the, let's say, late stage, maybe age of 30 or 40 or 45, then you lose the confidence to learn the new thing, actually, because learning new thing is always a challenge. So we decided in 2012 to start to work in the cancer, actually. We have zero knowledge at that time about this cancer genomics, basically. So how to start? So what we did, basically, we create first database. The advantage in creating the database, let's say you or your students, when create a database, you have to read lot of literature. You have to learn about all the information available related to that information. And then you are collecting, compiling the data. So during this reading, you become the expert of the field, because you have read lot about the field. That gives you the starting point. So what we did, basically, first database we create cancer drug resistance database. Though people are talking for a long time about the cancer resistance, but at that time there was no database which maintain or which contain the information related to cancer resistance. So major information we got from a study which was published at that year in Nature, and where they have demonstrated 148 drug they put on the 952 type of cancer cell lines, and they see what is the IC50 value, different type of. We collect this information. So that's nothing. So anybody can ask that information is already there. No, we have provided all connecting information. Let's say each drug has the drug target. So we know where is the binding site. So you need the structure. For some drug target, structure was available. For those targets where structure was not available, we predict the structure using the best techniques, okay, and provide here. In order to see that which are the deleted mutations or functional mutations, basically, we do the alignment. So we provide a lot of secondary information from the different sources, okay, and complete information from PubChem, Cosmetic, and other databases, and it provides the complete information. So anyone who is interested in the cancer drug resistance can get most of the information from a single source rather than going here, there, in the different. Because that's the advantage of database. Most of the data you got from the single source, just click it and you'll get it. So that rest of the work or working further is easy. So this provides a different type of information like multiple sequence alignment. Let's say you have 952 cancer line for a drug target, you have the 952 proteins. Then you can align them. You can find out why there is drug resistance, where there is mutations in the drug binding pocket or not. So that type of information is practically possible. Then we also predict the tertiary structure, so you know that in which pocket there is a problem, basically. Pharmacological profile, drug profile, we just created the different type of profiles. So complete information was available. So this was our first starting point, and this database is heavily used nowadays by the researchers working in this area. Next problem was basically Herceptin resistance. If you don't know about the Herceptin, Herceptin is a monoclonal antibodies normally used to treat the patient who are suffering from breast cancer. Okay. And sometimes you create some databases, create some information because you face these problems in real life. One of my colleagues, he is facing from the problem of breast cancer actually. So the problem was basically molecular antibody Herceptin is very important for treating the patient. Okay, but it is a very costly affair. That it required 3 or 4 doses, and each dose around at that time is 3 to 4 lakhs. So normally you are spending on the treatment with the Herceptin around 15 to 16 lakh, and it has been shown that for all patients this Herceptin is not working. Though they have one biomarker that is called EGFR. So if EGFR or HER2 express more, then normally it is given. But it has been seen in certain cases, even HER2 is expressing very well, EGFR is expressing, still it's not working. So it's a double loss. The person is losing 15 to 60 lakh, as well as drug is not working, as well as you lose the time actually in treating the patient. The question is, can we compile this information? Can we link the information from the genomics? Can we find out what genomic signature should be there, where it will work and where it will not work? So first, what we did simply, we collected all the informations, whatever has been tried in the past in the literature. It has been shown in number of cases in experimental studies that with some substantial additional drugs, basically additional chemicals, it works basically. So we collect all the information so that you get comprehensive information about Herceptin, so you can design the genomic biomarkers with the help of this database. So this database is available. If you are interested, anyone is interested, they may go to the site and you use it. All our databases, whatever we have developed, all are freely available, no restriction, no login things. You simply go and use them. And we are not asking any credit or discredit. It's up to you. Okay. So that was the drug resistance part. Then we go for the different type of databases related to different type of information. So here we have taken the pancreatic cancer, which is very important cancer here. So we have collected and compiled the information related to the pancreatic cancer and where the methylation is there in the genes basically. So that's basically maintain the methylation information out of the pancreatic cancer. Then my students want to understand that about the epigenetic biomarkers. Epigenetic biomarkers means they want to understand that in cancer patient, what are the epigenetic modifiers, how it is changed in case of cancer patient than in the normal actually. So they collect and compile this information and then they put in the form of the databases. Please remember one thing, all the databases or prediction method I'm describing to you have been already published in reputed journals. Why I'm saying published in reputed journals? Because they are all peer reviewed. It's not that we collect some information which is non-standard and you will feel that what is validity of this data. All have been already published, peer reviewed, have been approved by the community and heavily used by the community. That is so the application of these. So question is here, what type of information we normally maintain in the content modifiers, like mutation data, copy number variations, expression data, gene essential data. So we maintain comprehensive information related to epigenetics on the different type of cancers, whatever available. This is basically another database similar to the previous database. Only thing, this is for the proteins involving in apoptotic pathways. Apoptotic pathways basically. So if you are interested to understand the process in the cancer case, then you can get that information from here. So it provides the complete information like multiple alignment and all sort of things. So whatever the possible tools are there, we provide. That's a very interesting part because in our group, it's not only me who is giving the ideas. My students come up with the new ideas. They always come up with the new ideas and then they come up with the new theories. So here, that's a very interesting type of database developed by students. That's basically to a therapeutic potential of oncolytic virus. There are some viruses which can be used to deliver the drugs, deliver the vaccine candidates, as well as to treat the cancer. Even some of the viruses, they can be used to lyse the cancer cells. Okay, so that's very important part. Though it is already reported in the literature, but as far as I know, there was no database which maintained the comprehensive information, because the viruses can be used as a vector to deliver the drugs basically, or deliver the vaccines. Still, that's a good example. In coronavirus case, that this COVID, that virus, this spike protein is delivered through the virus actually. Okay, so virus plays an excellent role in treating the cancer. So here we collected all the information related to oncolytic viruses which can be used to treat the cancer basically. So this database is unique itself, and that's one of the reasons why our databases or prediction methods are heavily used by public, because number of databases or number of servers they are created first time. So first time means that we build these databases. So later on, the better databases come up and they field started. So anybody come in this field, so they got the knowledge that from where it has been started. So that's very important. Sometimes when you as a researcher, you have to think about the new things rather than building only the old things. Okay. So this database is heavily used by public, and each database again available on our link, and we provide the comprehensive information on our website, browsing it, searching it, advanced searching, downloading data sets. Okay. Beside that, that type of delivery type, there is another type of database we created. That's a basically cancer liver database for liver cancer. We have collected and compiled the information from the literature. Please remember this thing. Whatever the database I am describing you, none of the database is secondary database or predictive database. Whatever the information we have provided on our database, that is excellently validated data. Because sometimes the people are doing the mistake and they are creating the database of predicted information. The problem with the predicted information, there is no guarantee that predicted information is correct. So creating the database will further create the confusion basically. If you train your models on the predicted data, then it doesn't make any sense. So most of our databases, we have only provide experimentally validated data from the literature. So here again, on the cancer liver, whatever the experimentally validated data reported in the literature, we provide here. That include mRNA-based biomarkers, protein-based biomarkers, mutation-based biomarkers, whatever has been reported is available in the cancer liver database. Similarly, there is another interesting part nowadays, that is called enhancers, which are involved in the transcription factors, and their copy number help. Their copy number help to understand the cancer gene expression. So it's very important. So it's very important to maintain this information, though this information is available in TCG, but it is not usable for the users, from the user wants basically. So what we did basically, we collected all the information, we compiled in the form of databases actually, and we provide the associated information. Okay. So TCG will provide only the copy number and also information. What we did actually, we collected from the different databases, whether it's a phantom databases, cosmic databases, and TCGA, plus from literature, and then we provide in such a way that if you are working on the cancer, then it can provide you the complete information to create the data set for enhancer-based biomarkers. And we demonstrated in one of the papers that this cancer this enhancer information can be used as biomarker to detect the cancer in the early stage or risk patients. So this is the site, you can use it. I'm not going into the sites basically. Besides database, you basically provide you the data, source of information. So all the data is there in the databases. Now, after databases, the next question is how to develop the prediction models, how to drive the rules from this data. So that's again another part, another story that's called prediction methods. So here we have developed the different prediction methods over the years. Again, I am not describing all the prediction methods associated with the cancer in our group. I am only covering the major prediction methods in the group. Okay. So there is a concept called personalized vaccines and drugs. We are talking a lot, but question is how to implement in the real life. That's a challenge actually, because sometimes these words look very nice actually when you talk day to day that in the future there will be vaccine based on the personalized vaccines or drugs will be there. But question is how you further go in that area actually, how much you can implement in the real life actually. So that's a challenge. So this is an example, CancerTop, where we talk about the personalized vaccines basically against the cancer. And there is this concept is means prioritization of anti-cancer drug based on the genomic profile of a patient. So these are, I'm not saying these will be implemented in real life in the clinical trial, because most of our data is based here based on the cancer cell line, and not necessarily they will work in the real life, because that's one step actually towards the personalization. But this gives the way, theoretical way, how you can go in that direction. The another concept is promiscuous cancer drugs, because the problem with the cancer drugs, even there was a paper, it has been shown clearly by clustering, even the breast cancer, there is 12 type of breast cancers are there. Only for one type of breast cancer, drug is available. For others, it's not there. So problem here actually, can you design a drug which can work against the different type of breast cancer? Forget about the drug for all cancers. That's very too much actually. I'm saying for even for a specific tissue cancer actually, let's say breast cancer, can you design a drug which can work all type of cancers in the breast? So that here we make an attempt. I'm not saying that we are providing a solution. We are saying that we always start some new thing where the field can grow over it. So this is basically just the one example. I will show that how we have done it. Then cancer biomarkers, how you can predict the stage, because these are the important part when you are talking about the cancer, how you can predict the stage of the cancer, how you predict the progression, means whether it's in the benign state or in the local metastatic or metastatic stage, means progress. And third is type of cancer is basically prognostic biomarker, whether the patient is on the high risk or on the low risk. That's very important to understand in order to provide the right type of solutions basically. So here I will talk about the different type of methods basically. And ultimately, you have to do some discovery of anti-cancer molecules which can be used to treat the cancer patient. Okay, let's say first I will talk about the CancerTop. That's very interesting part, because designing the vaccine against cancer is more difficult than designing the vaccine against any virus or bacteria or fungus. Like COVID or coronavirus, we usually design the vaccines. It's in the market. Number of against the virus or bacteria, we already have the vaccines in the market. Why we don't have the vaccines against the cancer? Problem with the cancer is there. It is basically malfunctioning of our own genome or all our own cells. So even if you design a vaccine, it will work against us actually. So it will kill equally your normal cells rather than only the cancer cell. How to design a vaccine candidate which will selectively kill the cancer cell, that's a challenge. That's a major challenge. So question is how to provide the solution. So here, this is one of the attempt we make to provide the solution. So we have divided the 3 type of situations. Let's say you want to design a general vaccine against the cancer. So in this case, what we did, we take the different cancer patients and then we know the mutations actually. So then we create the possible mutations, possible peptides, because your immune system recognize the 9 to 10 amino acids as MSC binders. So we created all possible dimers. After that, we find out the dimers which are not available in the normal human or normal cells, but they are in cancer cell only. So if you use that part, if that dimer or peptide which can activate this immune system, can activate this immune system, okay, will be useful as a vaccine candidate. So here we did the same thing, that we generate the dimers, and once the dimers is there, then we do the predictions basically. All right. So then we have the cancer specific epitopes. The next part is basically personalized, fully personalized, and partially personalized. In case of the partially personalized, we have taken the cancer patients, the cancer cell, and we do the genomics, and then we find out the mutated peptides. In case of personalized medicine, fully personalized medicine, we have taken normal cell of a person as well as cancer cell of a person, do the genome sequencing, compare the two, find out the peptides which are in the cancer cell but not in normal cell, and we generate the epitopes. So this is a strategy. This is another strategy actually, designing subunit vaccine candidate, because it's very interesting. The number of cancers is created by the viruses actually, and in lung cancer also now they report that they are created by the viruses actually. Okay, so what we have done, we have taken all the virusy evidence in the lung cancer, and then we generate the vaccine candidates actually. So anybody is interested can use it. So cancer DP is another example, because you cannot do the drug discovery for an individual person. And meantime, because the time it will take too much time. So what we did, it's a new way actually. The prioritization of anti-cancer drugs. Maybe there is 24 anti-cancer drugs which are approved by FDA. Normally we try, doctors try hit and trial sort of things. But what we propose here, based on the genomic data, we can prioritize that this drug will be the best, then next. So here, based on the different type of profiles like mutation data, variation, expression profile, copy number variation, we developed the different model, and we got the maximum correlation between predicted and actual IC50 very good 0.78. Okay. This is another concept for designing the antibody against the pancreatic cancer cell line. What we did actually, we have make an attempt to do, because there is different type of pancreatic cancer cells. So we try to make a server where it can predict the inhibitors which can work against the different type of cancer cell lines of pancreatic cancer. That's a question. This concept is called promiscuous drugs, basically, which work against the wide range of pancreatic cancer. I'm jumping because time due to time, so I have to be on the time. So this is another example that where we have do the, that's one of the problem you will realize in the any genomics data, because we have the data from Affymetrix, from the RNA-seq, from the other different platforms are there. So here we have taken the platform from the different type of platform, and then we try to predict the biomarkers against this particular cancer, hepatocellular cancer, and we demonstrate it works. But please remember one thing: it is fine, but in number of cases, our as well as other observation is there. This cross-platform is a challenge actually. The data which is working on the TCGA data doesn't work on the GO data. That's a major problem. So this is another biomarker for predicting the early and late stage of the this CSP cancer actually. So we have the different type of cancer stage predictions. This is for the papillary thyroid cancer. This is for again stage predictions. I'm just jumping. This is for the progression of the cancer, these biomarkers. So it doesn't matter actually if I'm going fast. All servers are available. Complete documentation is there. You can just go and use it. The idea was just to expose you the different type of information available at our site, which you can use it. This is a very interesting part, because a lot of people are talking about personalization, but nobody is talking about that HLA typing. HLA typing is a very interesting part actually, because not all human beings have the all alleles present in the immune system. So all immune system of individuals are different actually. So here we have predicted the risk of the cancer based on the HLA typing. This is for the protein-based biomarkers for this cancer. So I'm just jumping. This is for diagnostics in a human body fluid. This is a database where we collected the information. This is anti-cancer peptide database. So that person who are working on the anti-cancer, they can use it. This is a server which is heavily used by the public for predicting the anti-cancer peptides. Because it's one side we are providing diagnostic biomarker, other side we are providing the solutions to the problem. This is another type of database which is called tumor homing peptides. These peptides have the capability that they especially bind to the tumors basically. So if you attach the drug, anti-cancer drug, they can deliver the drug on the right place. Because delivering the drug at right place or tumor place is one of the major challenges. So these peptides can help you. So this database is available, and prediction method is there, which can help you to design the new tumor homing peptides. So in drug delivery, it can be heavily used. So this is a basically recent review on this topic, computational resources for identification of cancer biomarkers. So if you are interested, you can read this review that will provide a comprehensive information, not from our data group, but from others group as well. Thank you very much.
Sir, there is a question.
Yeah.
Please suggest me information about best, precise, and accurate websites to find the perfect druggable proteins or enzymes or targets to initiate design and discovery of medical compounds.
Okay, just I am reading that actually. Okay, I cannot give an answer to this question because this is too general question basically. There is no such type of single method which is the best in the world actually. That's why every day there are different publications are there. All right. So you have to use, let's say if you are a new user, you have to read the literature and you have to find out which method you want to use based on the accuracy reported in the literature. Okay. Any other question?
Okay, so there is no other question, it seems, sir. Thank you very much, and we'll move on for the next speaker. I'll quickly introduce Professor Bandyopadhyay.